Get ready to dive into the stories that matter most, the headlines shaping your day, the conversations everyone's having, and the local perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Daily Pulse starts now on WSJS.
Neese's has been a state staple for a long time, and it's all really I grew up on. But now we have more clarity from the USDA of what is really happening. It starts with an L, and it's not liver mush. Welcome in to a fresh Daily Pulse, brand new work week here, and we appreciate you hanging with us here on a Monday morning, WSJS.com. I'm Stephen Beck here, and Christian Snyder producing for us this hour, packed with all sorts of different things. We'll get back to Neese's Sausage, an update there. We'll have our pulse check, a Monday morning market update in just a second. Some sports stuff with the Hurricanes, the Truist Championship golf in Charlotte, plus a little bit later, we are going to have a story out of Ohio that ties back to the Sasquatch. And so our pulse pick question right along with that. Do you believe in Bigfoot? You ever seen Bigfoot? Maybe you've been up in the North Carolina mountains and you've seen a furry, big, huge, oversized thing scurry away into the woods. Man, I'd love to hear a Bigfoot story this morning. 336-777-1600, our phone number, or you can chime in at WSJS Radio or at Stephen Beck TO, just like one of our fans did of the show. At Charlie's One Grandma, awesome username, wrote us a poem that I'm going to share with you here in just a second. First, though, let's get everybody their latest headlines this morning.
Pulse check. It's what's happening right now.
New data shows out of Charlotte that unsheltered homelessness increased this year, while shelter capacity actually dropped because of funding cuts and closures. There was a deadly overnight house fire. 2 people killed after a late night house fire in Rowan County. And the Charlotte City Council issues and budget-related discussions that they have there. In some of the sports trending news in our state, the Charlotte Hornets found out they would get the 14th pick in last night's NBA draft lottery. Plus, UNC lacrosse beat Albany in the NCAA tournament. Had a 10-goal game from Dominic. I don't know how to pronounce this last name. I think it's Pietramala, maybe. Either way, 10 goals in a game. That's impressive. We'll get back to some other sports items in a second. Before we also do some of these things, like the poem that I can't wait to share, Mondays, I tried to make myself smarter. And Doug Eslick, a friend of our program here, Edward Jones advisor, helps do that because of all the different things that happen in a week's time and how it affects potentially your savings and your future. If you have questions beyond our Monday morning market update, I really implore you to just give him a call because Doug's an awesome guy. We hope to have him on shortly just to kind of allow him to hang with me here and spend more time with you. But in that meantime, like I said, call him 336-477-6042, his number. Let's hear the latest that he's been following on the market.
It's time for your Monday market update with Doug Eslick, your local Edward Jones financial advisor. Let's take a look at where the markets stand as we begin the week.
Good morning. This is financial advisor Doug Eslick from Edward Jones bringing you the financial market report. The S&P 500 posted its 6th consecutive weekly gain, supported by solid employment data and renewed optimism around a potential Iran peace deal. Better than expected jobs data underscored the economy's resilience, while oil prices were little changed as markets await Iran's response to a proposed 14-point peace plan. The U.S. administration indicated that recent U.S. strikes on Iranian military facilities do not alter the ceasefire status, reinforcing hopes that oil flows through the Strait of Hormuz will resume. Technology shares once again led the market higher, driven by continued strength in semiconductor stocks, while healthcare shares lagged. Meanwhile, the U.S. dollar and Treasury yields were lower Friday, with the 10-year yield around 4.36%. The U.S. economy added 115,000 jobs in April, well above expectations of 55,000, while the unemployment rate held steady at 4.3%. Healthcare and social assistance once again led job gains, but hiring broadened across additional sectors, an encouraging sign of improving labor market breadth. Overall, stronger job gains and steady unemployment reinforce the economic resilience narrative. The first back-to-back increase in payrolls in nearly a year validates other timely labor market indicators that have been signaling not just stabilization, but improvement in employment conditions. These trends remain supportive of consumer spending, even in the face of higher energy costs. With downside risks to the labor market easing, the Fed is likely to remain firmly on hold in the near term as it waits to see how energy-driven inflation pressures evolve. We still believe one rate cut is possible in 2026, but it would likely come late in the year, assuming energy markets have normalized by then. In the meantime, equity performance should continue to be driven primarily by earnings trends and ongoing AI-related investment. With roughly 80% of S&P 500 companies having reported first quarter results, overall earnings growth is now on track to exceed 25%, marking the sixth consecutive quarter of double-digit earnings growth. This strength has been driven by a combination of solid revenue growth, particularly among technology companies, and historically high profit margins across many sectors. In aggregate, results have largely validated the view that corporate profits remain a key driver of market returns, helping offset a modest decline in valuations this year and providing an important counterbalance to ongoing geopolitical uncertainty. After such a strong advance in stocks, upside and downside risks now appear more evenly balanced in our view, and a pause in the rally would be a reasonable expectation. Even so, the earnings backdrop continues to provide an important cushion. As long as corporate profits keep accelerating, investors have good reason to avoid becoming overly negative and to tune out rather than react to the daily headline noise. This has been the weekly financial market report, brought to you by Edward Jones and financial advisor Doug Eslick, member SIPC, serving investors with personalized attention and financial advice at 112 Lowe's Foods Drive in Louisville, North Carolina. If you would like additional information, please contact me at 336-477-6042.
Loaded information in there, per usual, and a great guy to help with your financial planning. Doug Eslick, I promise. Give him a call, 336-477-6042. Before you get too heavy into your week, maybe this is a great way to start. Fresh prizes at WSJS.com. Spring into winning at WSJS.com by going to the site, look for the Springtime of Winning banner, and you could win items just like tickets to see Bryan Adams, the Roll with the Punches tour, coming to Spectrum Center, Charlotte, on Saturday, August 18th. We also have tickets to Tim McGraw Friday, August 14th at True Lion Amphitheater in Charlotte. John Fogerty and Steve Winwood on the Legacy Tour are also coming to Charlotte, that same amphitheater, on September 16th. And Dave Matthews coming to the Queen City, the Summer Tour for 2026, True Lion Amphitheater as well on May 16th. All of those tickets available to you. All you got to do is go to WSJS.com and spring into winning this morning. For months, and we shared with you on Friday, there's been uncertainty across our state. North Carolinians have noticed Neese's sausage, liver mush, liver pudding, all the different things that they've had in grocers for a long time have disappeared suddenly. Well, now more information is beginning to come into clarity. The core issue appears tied to food safety concerns and USDA oversight at the company's Greensboro production facility. Inspectors from the USDA say that production has essentially come to a halt there. According to a spokesperson from the USDA Food Safety and Inspection Services Division, Neese's was, quote, not requesting inspection at this time. So what that means is no inspection means no active production of items. The shortage of all this stuff apparently traces back to positive listeria findings at that facility. Federal records obtained through FOIA requests showed that the USDA first detected listeria in September of 2024 at Neese's. Additional positive findings occurred in September 2025 with stainless steel tables that they had in the facility, a pudding line floor area under a sink. So Greensboro's WFMY jumped in and reported that the company had been really difficult to reach, haven't really given much information out. Finally, Tommy Neese III gave a statement saying, quote, our priority is the safety of the food products our customers have loved for over 100 years. The company said that production was halted voluntarily, ready-to-eat products were held from commerce, and the USDA was notified. Initially, the company said products might be back by spring of 2026, but that clearly hasn't happened. So, still lots of uncertainty there. As we go to our break, I appreciate the creativity amidst sometimes struggled news like that. One Daily Pulse listener jumped in at our YouTube page, wrote a whole little sonnet about this story around Neese's. I'll share that with you. Plus, coming back, we got some sports stuff to get to. Just stay right there, the Daily Pulse on WSJS.
What makes springtime winning a thrill? It's not just the tickets we offer. It's not just the concerts, the baseball, or the races. It's not even the excitement of soccer or the allure of fresh starts. It's the moment you bloom into big wins, the thrill of fresh air and fresh prizes. This is all we offer, but we offer it all so that this spring you can spring forward into winning. Discover your chance at WSJS.com.
Mike Rowe here with another random fact. Those cracks on your walls aren't just cosmetic. They could mean your home is sinking. Whether it's drywall cracks, exterior cracks, or sticking doors or windows, do yourself a favor and call a Groundworks company. I spent some time working with these guys, and they're the real deal. Their people are trained and certified to stabilize your foundation. Schedule a free inspection with Tar Heel Basement Systems, a Groundworks company.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Who says you can't party during the week?
Back they come, Pep Biel, cross to the middle, Felton Saha, he scores! How do you like that? Wilfred Saha with a response of a lifetime!
Catch Charlotte FC in action for a midweek matchup against New York City FC this Wednesday, May 13th at 7 p.m. Get your tickets today by visiting charlottefootballclub.com/tickets.
A Gain Scent Bead story. Jim was at the laundromat when he heard his ear said, Maraca, senor, but his nose said, hey, freshest scent ever. Following his nose, Jim found a man pouring a bottle of Gain Scent Beads into the washer. The scent, the freshness. Jim blurted, sir, your scent Maraca smell amazing. Actually, Jim, most noses call them Gain Scent Beads. Try Gain Scent Beads, way fresher than detergent alone.
So this new dose is... nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
afternoons just got better with more guests, more opinions, and more laughs. The Dan Patrick Show.
The spelling is more incorrect. Thom or Geoff?
I'm an anti-Geoff guy.
I'm not much of a Thom guy.
I'm not a Thom guy either.
Why add the H? It's Tom, T-O-M.
One of my daughters dated a Geoff, and I never called him Jeff.
At some point, though, it is a conscious decision to be Tom with or without the H.
The Dan Patrick Show. This afternoon at 2 on WSJS.
Back to the Daily Pulse with Stephen Back, where you feel the rhythm of the triad.
Starting our week off right here on WSJS, the News Talk Sports Station in the Triad. I'm back here with you. And we're back on the Daily Pulse. Christian Snyder here as well producing this morning. We appreciate you hanging with us. Our Pulse Pick question today, do you believe in Bigfoot? Is he out there somewhere? There's some stories out of Ohio where sightings are heavily increased. We're going to give you those numbers here in just a little bit. But we want to hear from you anytime, 336-777-1600. You can also do that at WSJS Radio and at Stephen Beck TO. Both of those on X as well, where we really love our fans to jump in, share their talents, hang with us, entertain. This one I saw over the weekend, and I was like, man, I got to share this. Neese's, as we just shared, big staple, as much of an identity with my childhood as Bobby Cox was. And we're gonna talk a little bit about Bobby in a second. Sadly, he passed away over the weekend. There's an awesome story that I heard this morning from DeRosa, Mark DeRosa, one of his former Atlanta Braves players, and has since, I think actually this last summer, he was the manager for the World Baseball Classic for the USA team. But before we get back to that, Neese's was as much of part of my childhood as Atlanta Braves baseball was, and they keep going back and forth, and people are wondering what's happening, what's the deal there. Well, Charlie's one grandma, a follower of ours on our YouTube page, shared this beautiful sonnet about the story. The skillet sizzled, a morning song. With Neese's sausage, couldn't go wrong. Sage-scented aroma, savory and wild. He liked the hot. I preferred the mild. Now the factory is silent. The pans are cold. No more spicy goodness to behold. I mourn the flavor, the taste I hold dear. I'm at a loss since it disappeared.
Well done.
I can't take credit for that. At Charlie's one grandma, fan of the Daily Pulse on YouTube, that's what they have to say. And I think it was beautifully written there with probably a scroll pen and a cup of tea. Sadly, sitting on a porch somewhere, mourning this loss that North Carolinians have had with their Neese's sausage. As I said, the Atlanta Braves, big part of my North Carolinian childhood as well. That's just, the baseball team that many of my age demo grew up watching. And sadly, Bobby Cox passed away this weekend at 84. And I heard a story from Mark DeRosa, who was on with Tim Kirkchin on a podcast over the weekend about how Bobby Cox handled a situation where he wanted to go play golf instead of play, in the lineup that day. Just hear this story, and it's pretty much, I think, the epitome of who Cox was with his players.
Tell us what it was like playing with Tiger Woods. You are a world-class athlete. What was it like playing with arguably the greatest player of all time?
I'll tell you, I've never actually told this story on anything, and I think this will be the greatest story I tell was, I got a chance to play with him a couple times. I was 22 years old, and it was incredible. I grew up my whole life watching this guy, and I'll never forget pulling into Iowa the first time and seeing him on the range, and it was probably the most surreal moment of my life. I've been lucky enough. I've met President Bush, President Obama. I was not nearly as starstruck as I was when I met Tiger Woods for the first time. But what the coolest Bobby Cox story is, guys, is Bobby – during spring training, loved us to play golf, loved this. We were playing the Yankees at 1 o'clock on a day game. And I was 22 years old. I'd been playing for 3 months as a starter. I was not going to go up to Bobby and be like, hey, I need the day off, right? Like, but he comes out to stretch and goes, Smoltzy said you had a chance to play with Tiger today. There was a 150 tee time. And I'm like, Bobby, I'm fine. Like, I'm playing today. He goes, no, I'll make you a deal. He said, after your first at bat today, run through first base and kind of rub your ankle a little bit like you hurt your ankle. And he's like, in 2 days, we're going to Bradenton. And you know, Tim, you have to have 3 starters make a road trip.
Sure.
And he's like, I hate Bradenton's infield. I don't want to get any of the guys hurt. So if you go to Bradenton, I'll let you go play with Tiger today. So sure enough, man, we're playing the Yankees, 13,000 people in Orlando. I ground out the first at bat. I run through first and I start, rubbing my ankle. And, Bobby, he waddles out there with his cleats and he checks on me. I run inside. I literally throw my golf clothes on. I didn't shower. I get to the golf course and they're on the first fairway. So I hit my tee shot. We end up playing 27 holes. And about 4:30, my wife sends me a little thing that there was an update that said Frank Court day-to-day with a high ankle sprain.
I mean, that's Bobby Cox right there. Aside from just being the epitome of a player's coach, he would go out. He would get thrown out of games. He and Leo Mazzoni, they were just quite a duo. And those were the days, man. 90s Atlanta Braves baseball with some Neese's sausage maybe for breakfast. Golf over the weekend. It wasn't Mark DeRosa with Tiger Woods. Instead, in Charlotte, it was Norwegian golfer Christopher Rayton who got his first PGA Tour win at the Truist Championship at Quail Hollow Club. He finished 15 under, 269, beating Ricky Fowler and Nikolai Højgaard by a couple of shots. Rayton with a 269 closing out the tournament yesterday. He's won a couple of times on the DP World Tour. Came close to the Zurich Classic on the PGA Tour. Never heard of Norwegian golfer Christopher Rayton really until this point, possibly because one of the biggest stories around him was that he once considered just completely dropping the clubs and walking away. According to the Associated Press, he had become so frustrated after losing his DP World Tour card that he thought about becoming a YouTube golfer instead. He could have joined Bryson DeChambeau. I don't know what the deal is with YouTube golf. I felt like the bigger story, and this is sad because that Truist Championship was in Charlotte, but in golf over the weekend, it was 45-year-old Brandt Snedeker. Won in Dirty Myrtle, the One Flight Myrtle Beach Classic, an alternative option on the PGA Tour for the weekend. It was his first win in almost 8 years. And it gets him into next weekend's PGA Championship field. Snedeker, 18 under for the weekend, beat out Mark Hubbard by a shot. His 10th PGA Tour win, but the first that he's had since Greensboro, since 2018 at the Wyndham Championship, and Brandt Snedeker shared his thoughts after that win.
Struggling the way I did to come back and fight and claw my way back and play some great golf this year, even though it hadn't seemed like it to people outside. I know I've been playing really well. I just hadn't been able to put it all together. And, I kind of think it hopefully shows my family, my kids, something. 10 wins out here is an accomplishment, something I'm very proud of.
Clearly, he's a little emotional there. He is your President's Cup captain, actually, for the 2026 President's Cup as well. We'll take our break here at the bottom of the hour. We'll get you reset when we come back. Plus, some staggering numbers out of the WNBA. You don't want to miss those. Next on the Daily Pulse. Hey, this is Stephen Beck. This Friday morning at 9, grab your clubs, your coffee, and your curiosity because the Daily Pulse is broadcasting live from Willow Creek Golf Course for the High Point University Panther Club Golf Tourney. We'll be talking Panther Pride, NCAA action, and support for more than 450 student athletes and 16 Division I teams. Coaches can swing by anytime throughout the hour, and we'll keep our finger on the pulse of everything trending in news, sports, entertainment, and more. Live from the fairway, Friday morning at 9, only on the Daily Pulse.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your hands, you know Harbor Freight. And you can be confident knowing that at Harbor Freight, you can get quality tools at prices that work just as hard as you do. Because the only thing more satisfying than a job well done is a job well done, well under budget. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Piedmont Triad area weather. Starting off our Monday with some wet weather chances. We have a storm system zipping on through. We're up to a 70% chance for showers and a few thunderstorms forming for today. A lot of that out of here by early tonight and then gradual clearing through the night and fair weather coming our way for tomorrow. Today's high upper 60s. The overnight low for the mid to upper 40s and our Tuesday high 75. More chances for wet weather by Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Naramore for News Talk Sports for the Triad, WSJS.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd on WSJF.
In my lifetime, I thought I've never seen a player in their early 30s who I thought was elite. I mean, Russell's passer ratings were over 100 4 years in a row. Now, you can say, well, the passer rating is a little overvalued, and then he was terrible.
Your daily dose of sports talk, reality checks, and I told you so's.
Yes, I'm opinionated. I make you think, though, I hope, and react. Join me weeknights, 6 till 9. It's The Herd on WSJS.
Hungry for something fresh? Head to Bobo's Deli and Grill at 3478 Robin Hood Road. They serve the best crisp salads, hearty burgers, and deli sandwiches made with meats and cheeses sliced fresh in-house daily. Or try one of their made-to-order wraps packed with bold flavors and quality ingredients. And if you need catering for a party or meeting, large or small, Bobo's has got you covered. Come taste why locals love Bobo's Deli and Grill at 3478 Robin Hood Road beside the Robin Hood YMCA.
Don't let concerns about shifts in the market disrupt your long-term financial goals. Edward Jones financial advisor Doug Eslick can help. He'll work with you on an investment strategy for long-term results. Edward Jones can give you the tools and knowledge for a steady approach to hitting your financial targets. Get started by giving Doug Eslick a call at 336-477-6042 or visiting edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
3 unforgettable experiences await: revving engines, raising hope, and honoring heroes. Join the 2nd annual Northwest Piedmont Supporters of Wounded Veterans Poker Run, Saturday, May 23rd at VFW Post 9010 in Clemens. Sponsored by the Triad and Forces Motorcycle Club. $20 per biker, $5 per rider. Enjoy a free hot dog lunch post ride, plus a 50-50 drawing and door prizes. Sign up starts at 9 a.m. Kickstands up at 10:30. Throttle up for our heroes. Get all the details at Northwest Piedmont Supporters of Wounded Veterans on Facebook.
The Daily Pulse, the sound of the Triad, amplified. Your front row seat to the voices, issues, and energy driving the Triad.
Break in my waist, I don't play with the fakes.
Back to the Daily Pulse with Stephen Beck.
Daily Pulse back here on WSJS. Stephen Beck, fresh week. We appreciate you here Monday through Friday, 9 to 10. Don't want to miss it. Plus weekends, waking up proud. 9 to 11, yours truly there. And if you do miss it, don't worry. We have it podcasted for you. All that at WSJS.com as well. Before we get you reset for the bottom of the hour, wanted to share another great opportunity for you to grab some freebies here today. We have our phone lines open, 336-777-1600, and want to hook you up with some tickets to see Godsmack, the Rise of the Rock World Tour. Coming up May 14th at Truliant Amphitheater in Charlotte. Special guests Stone Temple Pilots and Dorothy. And we have tickets, maybe, if you call fast enough, 336-777-1600 to see Godsmack, Rise of the Rock World Tour. Let's get everybody else reset for the bottom of the hour.
Let's go.
A couple people were killed after a fire destroyed a home overnight in Rowan County. Charlotte stations are keeping a close eye on this as investigators work to determine the exact cause of that. Sadly, speaking of fires, emergency crews also responding to an active residential fire on Redbud Road in Chapel Hill this morning. And a bizarre story out of Gaston County involving a suspect that was captured hiding in a hospital ceiling after a chase. That's one of the most trending clicked stories online, it appears. Probably like me trying to figure out how a guy gets away from the police and then ends up in a ceiling in a hospital. The Hurricanes over the weekend, they defy odds. 8-0 now in the playoffs. Saturday, they won over the the Philadelphia Flyers, that is. 3-2 in overtime, becoming the first team in the current NHL playoff to sweep both the first couple of rounds. And Rod Brindamore spoke on his team after they finished off the Flyers.
Obviously we're getting some huge performances, but everybody's doing it. It's how we have to get it done, and go down the list. Every guy had his hands in, these 2 series wins.
Jackson Blake played big, having a couple of goals and an assist. The overtime winner on Saturday evening, Taylor Hall again chipping in. Logan Stankoven, that line really taking on the brunt of the work. According to the Wall Street Journal, Hurricanes goalie Freddie Anderson also has posted roughly a 95% save percentage during the playoffs. Just 5 goals he gave up against the Flyers in this series. The Hurricanes now likely off for the whole week, really. Again, they've swept both of their first 2 series, and so they got to let all these other teams catch up. They'll be in the Eastern Conference Finals against either the Buffalo Sabres or the Montreal Canadiens. Over the weekend, the WNBA and some other sports action also did get underway. The regular season started. Of course, the WNBA did get a CBA worked out over the summer. Caitlin Clark, really the biggest name that the WNBA has seen ever, I feel like. And she got her season with the Indiana Fever underway on Saturday, where the Fever team lost in a close game, 107-104 to the Dallas Wings. In that game, Caitlin Clark, her first action since really undergoing some serious injuries last year, played well, had 20 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, team high 31 minutes, and it took missed 3-point shots from both Clark and Kelsey Mitchell that potentially would have tied things up, ultimately the Fever losing by a few points. From that, though, there's just more evidence that Clark appears to be an easy target. She appears to be a punching bag of sorts for WNBA players. She really has gotten banged up and harshly fouled many a times where the officials don't really protect the star-studded player that she is. GMs, I'll share this with you in a second. They've even used her to kind of take shots when they don't necessarily have to, and when it wouldn't really make any sense to do so. Well, now more people are upset at Caitlin Clark after this weekend, after the Fever did lose a close game, because she decided to do a walkout with Morgan Wallen at his concert in Indianapolis. For those that may, not know how Morgan Wallen enters every single one of his concerts, it's become a pretty popular scene where he takes whoever is relevant of the area that he's in. So like when he was in Tennessee, he walked out with Peyton Manning. Maybe if he was in North Carolina, he would try to pick probably one of the Hurricanes players right now. Maybe it's Freddie Anderson that would walk out with him. I mean, it's somebody relevant. So before, when he's been there, he's walked out with the Kelsey brothers and he's done all sorts of stuff. Well, Caitlin Clark, she is somebody that he would obviously reach out to and see like, hey, would you mind taking part in this? And now because she did that and because they lost the game on Saturday by a few points, people are just upset again. And I'm at a loss as to why Caitlin Clark continues to be somebody that is taken for granted by those around her in a league that owes her a debt of gratitude. There was another poll that we talked a little bit about this weekend. I shared it on Waking Up Proud. I'll share it again here just because I'm impressed by the amount that she has generated for the WNBA, and out of that, equally confused as to how much they abuse and take her for granted, because general managers had a poll that came out just before the WNBA season started where they chose Paige Beckers at 30% as the one player they would choose to start an NBA franchise around. Not Caitlin Clark, not Asia Wilson, not Aaliyah Boston, not Kelsey Plum. I mean, there's tons of names that you could go with. They chose Paige Beckers. Now, we're not talking about players that for one reason or another might look at Caitlin Clark and be like, yeah, I can't stand her. I don't like her. I don't really care for her. So I'm going to vote for somebody else. We're not talking about fans, and we're not talking about media who could easily get swayed. We're talking about general managers who have to not only look at performances on the floor, but predominantly they're also going to care about what's in the bank. They're going to want to see success for the franchise on the backside of things. And they still say they wouldn't lean into Caitlin Clark as the one person that they would build a franchise off of, despite the fact that as Clark entered into the WNBA in 2024, regular season broadcasts on networks for the WNBA were up 170%. The league, just with her entrance, had 22 games draw over 1 million viewers. Before Clark entered the league, roughly averaged 505,000 viewers. Indiana Fever games have had 2 to 3 million viewers. The attendance for WNBA in person, meaning they're going to get some ticket sales. The GM, looking at that number, attendance rose 48% on the back of Caitlin Clark. The Indiana Fever, their attendance increased 264%. League merch, 236% of the WNBA merchandise rose once Caitlin Clark got in the league. Her jersey was the top-selling WNBA jersey, the number 2 basketball jersey in North America behind only Stephen Curry at one point. Her generating 225% of an increase for Indiana Fever corporate sponsorships and partnerships. And these GMs say, nah, we'd rather start with somebody else. Now, fans and other people saying, nah, well, we lost by 3 points in overtime on last-second shots by her and Kelsey Mitchell. But nah, she shouldn't be out there hours afterwards walking out for 2 minutes with Morgan Wallen making our entire league more relevant than it ever has been. We'll take our break. And the amount of numbers generated from Caitlin Clark far surpass the sightings seen in Ohio from BigFoot. But these numbers still equally kind of impressive. So we'll share those with you back again on WSJS.
Once upon a time, there was no radios, so you had to read the news, which was informative, but lacked the thrill of a live debate. Then came national stations, which delivered news but missed the local pulse. And then came WSJS, your triad connection for news, talk, and sports. We're local, and we actually care about what matters to you. So stay informed and engaged right here in the triad with WSJS, where the triad comes to talk.
Get ready to party with Chris Jansen and Easton Corbin.
I'm getting them good vibes.
May 22nd as the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds Arena will be rocking.
Get a girl like you.
Chris Jansen is bringing the party with Easton Corbin.
I'm a little more country than that.
Ready to join the fun? Mark your calendar. Chris Jansen and Easton Corbin. Friday night, May 22nd at the Fairgrounds Arena in Winston-Salem.
You can buy me a boat.
Snag your tickets now at WSFairgrounds.com. Dribbling down the court is great for skills, but shooting hoops at Crossfire basketball camps, that's a slam dunk for the soul. It's time to discover the action and the excitement at Crossfire basketball camps, nestled in the majestic mountains of Asheville. More than just basketball camps, they provide a life-changing experience. Led by Crossfire coaches and players, these camps are legendary. At Crossfire, campers experience high-level drills with a Jesus-centered focus. Offering full-day camp since 1993 for boys and girls aged 9 to 18, over 25,000 campers have found not just skills, but faith and friendship. Camps are filling up fast, so call 828-255-9111 to register your child today. Don't miss out on this transformative experience. Visit crossfireministry.com for more details. Crossfire Basketball Camps, where faith meets the fast break.
Play It Again Sports knows how to upgrade your game without upgrading the price. From first-timers to pros, they turn New Year goals into game day wins. Gear up, get out, and play it again, because sitting on the bench is overrated. Where sports get a second win, they offer secondhand gear with first-rate fun. Play it again. Experience the energy of the new year at Play It Again Sports in High Point, Greensboro, and Winston-Salem. Shop online at playitagainsports.com.
Feel the rush of the stadium and the roar of the crowd. It all happens right here with the Charlotte Football Club on WSJS. Charlotte FC is not just a game, it's a passion. From first kick to final whistle, hear the crown roar on WSJS and WSJS.com. Wednesday night, Charlotte FC welcomes New York City FC to the bank. Live, loud and local. All hail the crown, live on WSJS.
The Daily Pulse with Stephen Back, covering what matters most across the triad with voices you trust and stories that resonate.
Thanks for joining us back. Now, Daily Pulse here on WSJS. We're getting you set for a fresh week with things like Neese's sausage being of predominant concern for North Carolinians, probably anywhere else. And, well, if you missed it, basically the listeria concerns is what really, I think, shut them down. USDA confirming that through FOIA requests over the weekend, despite the Neese's family not really wanting to share a whole ton that way. And before we go to some reports out of Ohio that give us our Pulse Pick question of the day, at Charles One Grandma wrote us on our YouTube page about the Neese's happenings, shared this sonnet that I feel compelled to share again to you because of just how well this is like Shakespeare at his finest right here. At Charlie's One Grandma wrote, the skillet sizzled a morning song with Neese's sausage. Couldn't go wrong. Sage scented aroma, savory and wild. He liked the hot. I preferred the mild. Now the factory is silent. The pans are cold. No more spicy goodness to behold. I mourn the flavor, the taste I hold dear. I'm at a loss since it disappeared. At Charlie's One Grandma, wherever you are this morning, and whoever you are, thank you so much for uplifting our spirits here on a Monday morning over Neese's sausage with your beautifully written note. If they go down, we will put this on a scroll, wrapped up in a glass bottle. I'll send Christian Snyder, producer of this program, out to what's the nearest waterway probably that we have, and he'll set this sonnet to rest along with Neese's fans' tears. All right. A recent CNN story came out, and it made me wonder, is Bigfoot alive? Is he real? Is he out there somewhere? That's our Pulse Pick question of the day, because Ohioans say that they're seeing a lot of him lately. It's become the center of a renewed Bigfoot debate. Sasquatch sightings on the rise, especially in Portage County, east of Akron. Witnesses claim to have seen large, hairy creatures in wooded areas, oversized footprints, unexplained sounds and howls, shadowy figures near the Mahoning River corridor in northeast Ohio. One of the main people featured was a Bigfoot researcher who spoke out a lot about this, named Mike Miller. He spent nearly 20 years investigating alleged Bigfoot sightings. He said, quote, I think it's a herd of Yeti on the move after a harsh winter thaw. Ohio reportedly ranks 4th in the United States for reported Bigfoot sightings, according to the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, BFRO. Christian Snyder, do you believe in Bigfoot?
I will say this. I believe that Bigfoot is not of this natural world, but of the spiritual realm in a negative aspect.
Okay. Right. Well, must be a lot of that going on in Washington, California, Florida, and Ohio, because those tend to be the main areas of these reported sightings. So if you're walking through the woods and it could be night, I think a lot of times these guys are at night. Could be any time, though, I guess, and it's just quiet, and all of a sudden you hear. Yeah, I don't know what to think about that. See, I think that sounds like, in most states, some hiker that sadly stepped into a bear trap. Oh, or it could just be a mountainous lumberjack that hasn't shaved in a long time. I don't know, Bigfoot, if he's out there or not. But Ohioans, I think that's the right way to put it. They're the ones right now that raise the questions. Before we also leave here, there's something maybe as absent, but keeping people wondered. It tags right along with Neese's, and it also goes right with Bigfoot today. And that's something called Bubble Up. Bubble Up, I've never heard of. Probably a little bit before me, but it's one of these things that people that have had it, they're eager for more, and they want to know what happened to it. Bubble Up was originally debuted in 1919, nearly a decade before its competitors, just like 7-Up, launched. It became famous for a slogan, "Kiss of lemon, kiss of lime." The key differences from Bubble Up, which is a soda that people apparently loved at one time, and its modern day competitors, people say Bubble Up used pure cane sugar, lemon and lime oils, and of course those good glass bottles to package it, instead of the high fructose corn syrup and artificial flavor heavy formulas common in many modern sodas today. Despite early popularity from Bubble Up, this is what happened. There was multiple ownership changes. They had weak distribution and sadly had to file for bankruptcy around 1970. So that opened the door for other big-time brands like 7-Up, Sprite. Now there's, I think there's still Sierra Mist and Starry out there.
Yeah.
So Bubble Up can still be had, though. Dad's Root Beer acquired Bubble Up in 2007, continues to produce it in limited quantities today. You just got to pay a little bit heftier of a price tag for it. $3.49. It's like the Sasquatch of the Food Lion. That's the Daily Pulse. Stay right where you are. Brian Kilmeade up next, right here, WSJS and WSJS.com.
Carolina